Annette and Victor. We was out and supporting the Bundys in Las Vegas, and I kept on seeing Annette come up there. In spite of everything that she was going through, she was still there to support the Bundys. And that really made an impression on me. And I heard her story at AFP. We were going through classes. I heard her and Victor's story, and it really touched my heart. So, without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Roger Roots. You can have this one? No, you can't. You got that one.
All right. Well, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Roger Roots. I'm founder of Lysander Spooner University, and you can find we've got a little website, lysanderspooneruniversity.com. Of course, for those of you who don't know, Lysander Spooner was a great writer in the 1800s. He wrote about freedom constantly. He was an abolitionist. He was a great advocate for trial by jury and the right to trial by jury. And he took you could say, an extreme libertarian position on all things. And he's sort of my hero. Whenever I open any book that was written by Lysander Spooner, even from the perspective of 150 years later, I say to myself, holy cow, this is me. Literally, this is like my own thoughts. And this was written by an individual in the 1800s, Lysander Spooner. And so about 3 years ago, I founded Lysander Spooner University, which is the first university of its kind. It's mostly a website at the moment, and you can find that at lysanderspooneruniversity.com. Ultimately, I want to turn it into a living, breathing university with courses and classes and lots of educational content. At the moment, it's mostly a libertarian website or a blog. But we have put on several events, and we are putting on our first event of 2018 on April 20th, and that will be right here at the Patch of Heaven. And it's going to be a debate, an academic, scholarly debate involving what has been done on this property and to this property by the federal government. And I'll just go ahead and introduce that for those of you who may not be aware, but we're standing on a piece of property. This is a piece of private ground, 40 acres. It goes back in time. It can be traced to the 1880s, where the predecessors in interest of this property settled, they worked, they improved, they built roads, they built bridges, they improved the irrigation. They had this beautiful water stream that was running through this patch of the Amargosa Valley. Beautiful stream, ran through this valley for over 100 years. There was livestock, all kinds of agriculture, and that water was put to use by the people who were the predecessors in interest to the present owner, which is Victor and Annette Fuentes, who have the Patch of Heaven Church Camp here where we are. And in 2010, the federal government, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I should set a little bit more groundwork. Over time, they have come to control almost all the land surrounding this parcel of 40 acres. So the federal government over time has just been grabbing up acres and grabbing up water rights and grabbing up all the land around. And so this piece of land is very isolated at the moment. And in 2010, the federal government just came in without any permits, without any due process, and they just, with heavy equipment, diverted the stream. This is a stream that is about a pretty good piece of water, probably 6 feet wide in most places. And they just diverted it off the private land through the public lands out there, what they call the Ash Meadows Wildlife Refuge. They just completely diverted the private water away from this parcel of land. It's almost unexcusable. The only defense they have is that they claim it's to save the pupfish, the Amargosa pupfish. Anyway, what I would like to do on April 20th, 2018, we're going to have a debate. And what I want to do is invite anyone, really anyone from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service or Ash Meadows Wildlife Refuge, and I have sent an email to them saying, hey, please send someone to debate and defend your actions. We're going to have Mr. Ed Goodhart, former Nevada Assemblyman, Ed Goodhart, who's a very knowledgeable expert on this area and the water right issues and the different issues surrounding this situation. And we're going to have a debate, probably right here on the stage, unless there's too many people, and then it will be outside. Mr. Goodhart will debate whoever the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service presents, and if they don't present anyone, we'll reach out to anyone else, maybe an environmentalist group, anyone who wants to try to defend what has happened here, where they have literally diverted the stream away from this private parcel, taken all the water, and they've killed all the trees, killed all the grass, destroyed the commercial viability of this church camp operation. And so we're just going to invite anyone from, you could call it the other side, to try to defend it, and we'll have Mr. Ed Goodhart debate them. And so April 20th, I hope all of you guys can make it, and thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to David Fleeman.
All right, let's have a big applause. Just to say something a little bit about Roger, he was very instrumental in a lot of things behind the scenes that a lot of people didn't realize. This guy's a rock star. Okay, next one up is Eddie Goodhart. Let's get a round of applause for Eddie Goodhart. This guy knows more about water than most people know about anything. And a lot of things. Take her away.
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak on a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and that's private personal property rights. I think that underlies what has made this country great. I think we all love our country. I know we all do. We love the Constitution. We love the Bill of Rights. We love the founding principles that underlaid those documents. But I also feel that this day and age, government has kind of overstepped its bounds in many areas. We're seeing what made this country great slowly slip away. We're seeing government entities take on entities and take liberties with our freedoms that we never envisioned them of doing. So I would also say in this room there's a lot of healthy skeptics of our government. We love our country unconditionally, but we're also skeptical of those bureaucrats that have decided to take the law and the rule of law away from us in their own hands. Because of that, what I've gone through, I've lived out here in Amargosa Valley for well over 20 years. I had a similar experience where I was denied the use of my water a year after I moved out here, and almost put me into bankruptcy right off the get-go. That propelled me to get in politics. I served 8 years on the Amargosa Town Advisory Board. I also served 3 terms as a Nevada State Assemblyman. And during my short tenure as a Nevada State Assemblyman, I saw a similar situation occurring in the same valley in which I was residing, and that's this church camp. I saw the federal government going at matters that if a private individual or business had done it, they would be in jail, they would be incarcerated. So for us, we decided to go ahead and reach out. We went through a lot of legal avenues, legal means. We had a lot of support from the MPRI for the Center of Constitutional Justice and Litigation. But after 7 years, it seems like you take this to court, and it's their court. You're going up against the federal government with a federal judge in a federal courtroom, and they basically own and control that court. And basically all you get is they want to portray an illusion of justice. But it's very, very, very difficult and extremely unlikely to get justice in a federal court. It's almost a kangaroo court that they've kind of put a charade on to give the folks the illusion of justice. So after 7 years, we decided to reach out. Even after I stepped down from political office in 2012, I've been following this case very closely. And to put up in a nutshell, this is some rogue bureaucrats decided to go ahead and take away water from the folks who own this land that has been attached to this land since the 1880s. This ground was founded through a schoolhouse section. It was privatized in the late 1890s or 1880s. It's been in private property hands ever since. But along the way, Death Valley National Park over to our west, we've got Devil's Hole, Death Valley National Pupfish to our east, In the middle was this area of land they really wanted to control. This used to be an area of immense prosperity, thousands of cows, thousands of acres of nourishing crops to feed those cows. Well, back in the early 1970s, the Caper decision basically put this thriving ranch out of business, saying they couldn't pump water anymore because it was going to have an adverse impact on the Devil's Hole pupfish. So over the last 30 or 40 years, we witnessed what used to be a real thriving oasis in the desert deteriorate into a sun-blistered patch of desert. But along the way, they've upgraded from a BLM now to a National Wildlife Refuge. They kept on buying more and more private parcels. There used to be dozens of private people that lived in amongst the private lands of the refuge. Well, they've deemed those people to be, they call them a name, inholders. You're owning a piece of ground that's within a federal occupied territory. Well, along the way, they kept on buying out more and more people, and Victor and Ned Fuentes were one of the last people to hang on to their piece of land. And along the way, we saw them take actions that were never mentioned in their EIS, never documented, never got the permits through the Army Corps of Engineers, through FEMA, never went through a public process. Final straw was they diverted the water that flowed through that property, vested water right predating 1905. Even subsequent to that, there were appropriated water rights for irrigation purposes with this property. And without any of those permits, they used heavy equipment. I think they got tired. They thought, boy, if we can't buy the Fuentes family out and the church, we'll just render their land useless. We'll strip that land of the water. It's almost a slash and burn type of technique that I've heard about them doing, at other places. Well, not more than along the way when they were doing the heavy equipment and rearranging stream flows, tearing out dams and impoundments, I warned Ash Meadows' director at that point in time that they were re-diverting a lot of not only spring water to different areas, but they were also taking a lot of vital stormwater protection structures out as well. And I said it might have the unintended consequence, or maybe in their case, the intended consequence of putting this church camp property at risk during another flooding rain event. Not more than a week after they finished their work that was not approved, reviewed, or permitted, exactly what I told them might happen happened. Within a week of the finalization of their project, this camp not only had the water stripped away, but to add insult to injury, had the full force and fury of stormwater diverted right through the middle of it. It's torn out chasms on parts of this camp, created new canyons where there were none, and now we don't have water to go ahead and feed the cattle, nourish the streams, and have the baptismal pools, ponds here that we had before. So the reason why I'm standing up here is I figure all it takes for idle to flourish is for good men to sit idly by and do nothing. And I figure that even though I'm not in politics anymore, I feel like I still have an obligation of an American citizen, and I would refer to myself as an American patriot, to stand up against oppression, tyranny, and evil wherever I see it. Thank you.
Very nice, thank you. Okay, next up is Dennis Hoff. And Dennis Hoff is going to introduce, after he's done, Annette and Victor up to the mic. Thank you.
I'm proud to be here today. I moved to Nevada for freedom. The right to carry my gun wherever I wanted to and do what I want to do. And I've just watched things go bad, and it just troubles me. Most of you know me from my HBO TV show or my series on Cinemax that I produced, and that's where my notoriety, and I intend to use my notoriety to help fight this fight. I got introduced to the Fuentes by Tina Trenner. I knew all the problem with Ed Goodhart had told me before, and I just couldn't believe it, to be honest with you. And then I saw the terrible things that happened to Clive and Carol, and my heart goes out to you, and I want you to know that every one of us was supporting you. We were protesting. We were doing everything we could behind the scenes to stop the horrific things that happened to you folks. And I want to give them a round of applause, please. I
decided to get into politics. What a dirty business. I'm seeing what the government's doing, our state and federal government, and it makes me sick. That makes me absolutely ill what's going on. And I'm experiencing it now because I had the nerve to stand up and run for office. Now they're doing the same thing to me, taking my business away from me, successfully doing it. And they broke so many laws, and fortunately people like Donna Cox, Commissioner Cox is here, is supporting, trying to stop them from doing what they're doing to me. But it's just brutal. When you get on the wrong side of these people, they have all the power, they have the money, they have endless legal teams that can fight you. And Clive and Carol, you know it better than anybody. So I got brought out here by, I heard the story and I knew what was going on because Eddie and I have talked many times. He's my good friend and mentor, if you will, because he knows more about this legislature than I'll ever know. But Tina Turner brought me out here. And I'll tell you, for days, I was just half ill with what's going on. I thought, I don't even believe this is happening. You know, you hear something, but till you see it, you really can't feel it. And I felt it. I thought, what can we do? What can we do? So because I'm running for politics and I'm spending money, I want to help jump on this bandwagon. So I talked to Tucker Carlson, my good friend, and said, what can we do to help these people? After I came out here and saw this travesty. And Tucker said, start using your media power to shine the flashlight on these people, and it will help. So I called up Roger Stone, and I said, Roger, will you come out? Roger's going to help me with my campaign, you know. And Roger's coming out here, and he's going to help me. And I said, you help the Bundys. I mean, you supported them, and this is the same kind of cause. Will you please help me with the Fuentes? And he says, absolutely. So April 21st, we'll be here on the 20th. We'll be here in mass on the 20th, and we'll try to get all the media we can out here. And my guess is those cowards from the government won't even show up. That's my guess. But it doesn't matter. We'll be here. On the 21st, we're going to have an event, and it's Roger Stone. We're going to get this out to the world. Hopefully, we can bring in national media, and we're going to have a great event, and we're going to talk about this on April 21st. And I'm hoping that we can really make something happen and change this terrible direction and of what's going on in our state and what's happened to the Fuentes. And you know, Mark Twain said it best, whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. Well, I want to fight for the Fuentes, and I want all of us to fight for the Fuentes. They deserve it, and they need our support. Thank you.
Okay, that's all right. Next up is Annette and Victor Fuentes. We have a round of applause. I've gotten to know these two, and I really love them both. They are the salt of the earth. There we go.
She's terrified to the camera, yeah. But you know, I'm very thankful for all of you to be here today. Clive, Carol, you know, they go front of us. They took, you know, the flag of freedom to the top, you know, and we support them. And I'm glad for all of you. Donna Cox, she never give up. She never give in. She's always fighting for freedom. Now we have Mr. Denny Huff fighting for freedom, and we have my friend Ed Hart, who have been with us from day one, you know, fighting every step of the way. In many different ways he has helped us, and we really, really appreciate that. You know, now we have many of the other men and women who are involved in this freedom movement, you know, with the people. Mr. Roger and others, you know, Dave, and you know, I came from Cuba in 1991. Looking for freedom, number one. Number two, my mom was sick in Cuba, and the doctors in Cuba say, you know, we don't have any remedy for her here, But if you go to America, you can maybe find some help for them. I came here for those two purposes, for freedom and seeking healing for my ill mother in Cuba, And when I came here, I never imagined that I'm going to be dealing here with the same government that we was dealing in Cuba, The only difference between Cuba and here is in here you have a little bit of food, But if you take the food away from America, it will be just like Cuba. The government came and also pay you land. They take you right away from you. They walk all over you, and it seems like nobody's able to help. We appeal to the county commissioner. They passed a resolution 5-0 in our favor for the federal land, for the federal government to put the water back, and that was like nothing. It was like another piece of paper, And then beyond that, they was unable to help us. The sheriff from Lake County was unable to help us. We talked to President Hardy when he was in Congress, and he was unable to help us. So the question that I have is, who can help us? Who can help us? And everybody that I went to, they say, we cannot help you. So meaning that the federal government can come to our county, they can destroy us, they can steal from us, and nothing can be done. People, we need to wake up. We need to wake up, and we need to join forces, the decent people of this country, and fight for what is right. I lose one country, that country is Cuba, and we lose that country to communism. If you think that we cannot lose this country to communism, you are dreaming. Look, Venezuela. Venezuela is happening before our eyes. It wasn't yesterday, it's happening as we speak right now. Who would ever thought that Venezuela is going to become a communist country? It is a communist country today, And here, the same thing going to happen if we the people do nothing. We need to wake up, and we need to join forces, and we need to do what is right, okay, and fight for our right. Nobody going to fight for our right if we don't do it. We have to do it ourselves, and we have to do it in a peaceful manner, okay, in a peaceful manner as much as we can. I see in this last day many different groups, fighting for what they call their right. They destroy property, they burn down businesses, they take over everything and destroy everything, and we are not doing that. We just wanted to live alone by the federal government so we can do what we can do best, help our fellow men and help our neighbor and produce for this country, What we're doing here in our camp, coming this way, it doesn't affect the government at all. Matter of fact, we don't even ask the government for 1 cent to do what we do over here. What we do over here, it comes strictly from the people, and people who love Patch of Heaven and love us, restoring lives and people, and they help us. So the government, how many different excuses for what they do? Oh, these guys over there, they're using the federal land, for their cows. Those guys over there, they're using the water. And us in here, we are not doing none of the stuff, and then still they come over here to take over our rights. So which one's their justification? The only thing that we do here is to save people, help people to do better, to do good in life. And it doesn't cost the government 1 cent. So I thank all of you guys for coming here and be willing to help and to and let me tell you something. It's not only about us over here, Patch of Heaven. It's about all the people around the country who are suffering the same thing that we are suffering.
Way too many people.
And honest people. I myself have gone to visit Cliven and his wife at their ranch. We went over there to Central Nevada and we visited H families. Tina went with us and feel all the people from my county. And those people, what they want to do is to provide for their family and to provide for America. And do good in life. Every day that they wake up to do good. They never wake up to do evil to anybody. And there is a government had to come and bother them. And try to be trampled all over them. I had never thought that when I came from Cuba to America, I'm going to find a government like this one. I lived 26 years of my life in Cuba, and the other half over here. I'm 53 right now. And I came to America when I was 26 years old. And people, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know, not allow this country to become a communist country. Do not allow that. I ask you and I beg you, let's fight for what is true. Let's fight for the right. Let's fight for the beautiful Constitution that our founding father leave us. Don't allow anybody to usurpate that. Let's fight for that, for our right and for our liberties. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the ceremony tonight. I was wondering if somebody would say the prayer. Would you like to say the prayer, Clive?
I want to thank you for this opportunity. Father in heaven, we're so thankful to be able to meet together as friends and members of this great nation. We're thankful that we're able to have this freedom to meet and to discuss our problems, discuss our lives. And Father, we want to recognize Thee as the one that we turn to, the one that we have faith in, the one that we desire to be like, and we want to be able to follow Thy commandments and live the life that You have laid out for us to live. Father, we feel like this is a great blessing to be here tonight, to be here in this land, and to be upon this land. And we ask a blessing upon this portion of land, that it might have its water restored to it, and that we might be able to feel the freedoms and liberty, and we expect justice. And Father in heaven, bless these people, and bless those who have come here, and bless America. We pray for America tonight, and we do it in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, just one more thing. We'd like, we want a group picture, but I'm not sure the lighting in here is the greatest.
We got good cameras.
You got good cameras? Okay. You got a good camera? Okay. I've got one too, but I have a hard time figuring out how to operate it. All right. I did my job. I'm done. That's it.
Everybody up.
Oh, wait a minute. You like this, right?
No. You don't like it?
It is great, yeah.
It's yours.
Is that one mine?
Yes.
Wow, thanks.
Woo! There you go. Shauna, call everybody up for a group picture. There you go. You got your mic.
I got my mic.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can figure out a mic.
Push the button until you get the light.
Okay, let's get lined up.
That's the important key.
Right up here in the front of the stage. Everybody up in the front of the stage. How about
Come on, Donna. It's done. Donna, come on. Come on. Carboni, come on, Donna.
Oh, you're good. That's right. I want to get a tall guy. I can't swim guys. Come on, you guys. Hurry, quick. Okay. I'm going to. Keep it up.
You can get a still shot, Zach.
Yeah, as soon as Donna's done walking around.
Jason, come around front. Let's see how there's her. What are you guys doing? Donna, come down here.
You gotta stand.
No, here.
Come on, Donna.
Donna, get up there.
That's all enough.
All right, 3, 2, 1, freedom!
Freedom! Great picture. Excellent.
Come on.
coming up.
Move a chair in the middle.
Everybody point at this camera right here.
Oh, you're gonna
Hey,
make
Paris,
us
can you get one?
Oh yeah, come on.
Paris.
There you go.
Paris, can you get one with mine?
Yeah. And mine?
Somebody go on Stay tuned. I'm going to try and get a few questions with Victor after this. So just stay tuned. I'm going to keep this going.
David, you got your camera on good, or you
Yeah,
send it to me?
Make sure the flash is on. Yeah, it's on. There you go.
Sorry, I'm
No, you back up a little bit so we get this
I
whole
can turn
thing.
that light on right there.
Beautiful.
You need this
Oh, yeah, that light, yeah.
You need this light?
Yeah.
No, I have that.
Can you turn on?
Successful camera. That's good.
David, this camera's perfect.
Hold on.
Well, you know how to work it better than I do.
There you go. Is that, can you get one with your
Every
camera?
light.
With what?
Get one with the phone?
Get your camera phone. Your phone.
Yeah, let's get
Well, you people are famous. Look at all the pictures.
slide over.
Okay, this is a really good angle. Everybody look at this camera right here. And smile.
Grab the camera right next to you. You know my smile? I know, you can't stop.
Okay. Super. We'll do that. So we got people standing here and over there. I didn't want to join in the picture for one reason.
Got it?
Their choice,
Yeah,
right?
look at that camera. There's no flash.
You don't need it.
Hey, Alan, this is Patch of Heaven, Amargosa Valley, Nevada. Out near the Mojave Desert, I guess. I think we're about an hour and a half or two, maybe northwest, I'm not sure, something like that, of Pahrump, Nevada.
Let's see Paris photography. Let's see how she
What's the name of the wildlife refuge again? Ash Meadow. Near the Ash Meadow. Is it Wildlife Refuge? I know. But it's near Ash Meadow National Wildlife Refuge or something like that. So you can look for that. Good people, really good people. And I'm hoping to get a few questions with Victor and his wife, the owners here. Hey, Victor. That's Victor right there. And I think he's coming my way. He's thanking everybody for being here first.
Yes. Wait till April 21st.
Can you two sit here for me? And we'll have a little conversation if that's okay. Did you get a chance to say goodbye to everybody and thanks?
Is everybody going? Are they leaving? Is Cliven and Carol leaving?
No, I'm going with them. They
Oh,
better
okay,
not
good.
leave.
I guess I wanted to make sure we said goodbye.
Okay, let me see where I'm at here. I'm going to back up just a bit.
There you go.
Oh, you're welcome, Alan. Okay, here we are with Victor and Annette Fuentes. And they're sitting kind of far apart, but they are married. They like
Sorry
each
about
other.
that. We do like each other sometimes, right?
Okay, Victor, I'd like you to tell people a little bit of your story. How you came here, where you came from, what you're doing, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
well, I came to the United States of America in 1991, just escaping from the Castro regime and also seeking some type of help for my ill mother in Cuba. She had multiple sclerosis. And the only country who offered some kind of the relief for her was here, and the freedom that I was looking for was America. You know? So ever since I was little, I was hoping that one day I can make it to America, you know, and I did. But the only thing that I never thought that when I came here, I got to find the same abuses that the government did to us in Cuba here in America. It was a big surprise for us, you know. But in 2006, my wife and I, through the help of people, you know, up here in Nye County, we was able to buy this piece of land, 40-acre parcel, and our intention was to help youth and people, you know, to be restored to be reborn, you know, and that was the purpose for which we bought this property, and also because we have living water flowing through here, and we was looking forward to apply our belief as closer as possible to the Bible, you know, to do baptism like Jesus did in the river Jordan and everything. And we was doing that until 2010 that the government, through our Fishing Wildlife, came and diverted the water from our property illegally and unlawfully. And a week after that happened, they flooded us up. You know, all the water, flow water from the rain, they come to our camp and cost $86,000 in damage to our property. You know, and when that happened, we sent a letter to the government, you know, to Fishing Wildlife, asking them to restore the water and pay for the damage. That's all that we was asking. We was asking not for $1 million or anything like that. Restore the water and pay for the damages so the company who assessed the damage can, you know, fix the property back again. But they don't even acknowledge that letter, you know. There is after 7 years of fighting them in court, we are still here today fighting, and that is why we have this meeting here today, you know, to bring awareness to the rest of the country to what is happening to us. And in our search for justice, we find out that it's not only us suffering this kind of injustice, it's a lot of people all around the country. So, correct, yes. And all these people that we have around here today came in support of us and others around the country, you know. And I think it's about time that the government come and start to respect the law of this country and start to respect the Constitution, you know, and start to respect our freedom.
How did you two meet?
Well, I was working at a casino in Vegas, and
I'm going to get around here a little bit and get closer because our sound.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Go ahead.
I was working at a casino in Vegas, and Victor went to work there, and that's how we met. We have 2 sons, Zachary and Aaron. And
how old are your sons?
Zach's going to be 26, and Aaron turned 20 yesterday.
And so how did you get involved in a ministry? Is it something you've always done?
No. It's not always that when I came from Cuba and in the beginning I got in trouble with justice. You know, I was selling drugs and all that. And so they sentenced me to 5 years in prison. And when that happened, in there I found Christ. I found Jesus as my Savior because that was my only hope in there, you know. And ever since I was there for 3 years, I was ministering to people inside there, you know. And I feel that the Lord called me to do that. And when I got out, that was where the idea came to have a camp, you know, for teenagers and people with problems. And ever since, that is what I've been doing, you know.
We've got lots of people watching.
Oh, wow. Really?
Thank you for sharing your story, for standing up and
you know, it means so much to know that people, I know, you just have no idea. For so long, it kind of, and I know we're not, but it just kind of felt like we're fighting this alone. And
because you've been fighting for how long?
7 long years.
7 long years, yes.
Too long.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, good neighbors have learned what's happening. Hopefully, you come to your rescue or to stand with us.
You know what? Just knowing that there's people out there, the ones that are saying thank you guys, you know?
That people care. We
Yeah.
all need to know that.
Because if it can happen to us, it can happen to anybody.
Exactly.
You know?
Let me see if there's any questions. This gal says, now God is also using you to tell us about our freedoms lost.
Wow.
And are you an American citizen now? I wanted to ask
Not
that.
yet,
Is
not
that
yet,
okay?
not yet.
Working on that.
Correct.
Okay. All right, let me see if there's... I can't get to my questions. There we go. This gal says, let me see if I can see it. I missed it. Victor and Annette, thank you for fighting for your freedom and our freedoms.
Thank you.
Hold on, there was one here on people. Idaho, Utah, Pennsylvania.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's isn't it? Oh, somebody says Codias.
They said what?
Codias?
Oh, Codias.
Buenas tardes. Ya, muy buenas tardes para ti también.
The Fuentes have a story everyone should hear, that's true. Buenas tardes, yes. This is for Tyson Rudd. Thank you, Tyson. They are listening. They want to help.
Thank to all of you. Thank to all of you.
I'm sorry, I cut off your heads over there as I was looking for questions. And I'm sorry about all the noise. I should have maybe moved this a little bit farther from here.
It's a little noisy.
Yeah. But we want to thank everybody for watching. We want to thank
you
all for having us.
Thank you.
They fed us an amazing meal. This is Wendy Kay for Redoubt News.
Thank you, Wendy Kay.
Thank you. I will be back on the 20th. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry we planned to go there. I cannot be here.
We're going to have a
Somehow we'll be there.
yes, we're going to have a great day, and we
yeah.
invite everybody to come. We have plenty of room, plenty of bed, and here for you guys.
And we'll have more video and pictures on Redoubt. I've got some that I've been taking throughout the day while I've been here to